Hi, how y'all doing? It is Tuesday, March 18th. Um, Sometime around 4 p.m., somewhere in that area. Sitting out here in my rocking chair. Just got home not too long ago. Yes, I know my house is dirty. I gotta get ready here soon and break out the long-handled scrub brush. I used to have a nice pressure washer, but sold that years ago. So now it's garden hose and scrub brush and a couple cans of Tough Stuff. I do have one of those like high pressure nozzles. Got like a 20-inch steel steel nozzle that kind of turns your regular water hose into a pressure washer. Nothing like an actual pressure washer, but you can definitely get more out of it. I just got to do it, It's been so much else to deal with, and I really don't care all that much right now. I'm not trying to impress anybody. It's not like it's nasty. It just needs brushed and cleaned. Plus, I'm in springtime pollen season right now, so I'm kind of waiting for that to blow over a little bit, so I don't have to do it more than once. And get out here and wash it. I get Joey back today, but my ex said it probably won't be till 7:30 before they get back. They'll be coming back a little bit later this time than what they usually do. They usually leave. They usually leave out the same time her twin sister and her family head back to the airport to go home. But they're not leaving till tomorrow. But my ex couldn't get tomorrow off work, so they're staying later than they normally do today. He'll be back this evening, though. Getting ready to go in there and make one of his favorite meals for him for when he gets back. I went to the doctor, and everything is fine. My foot is stable. However, he wants to do more surgery. He thinks that I still don't have enough upward tilt with my stump, making it harder for me to try to adapt to walking on my heel. And he wants to go in and lengthen my Achilles tendon. I thought he did that before, but I was wrong. He lengthened the one on the side, one of the main ones on the side, and he wants to go back in there and do that again. It would be outpatient surgery, and he said I'll be up and walking the same day. So it won't be bad. The only thing is I'm not going to be able to do it at my local hospital here in St. Augustine because they don't take my insurance. And with everything else going on, I could not afford another massive hospital bill. They're already trying to get me for several $1,000s. So, we're looking at probably doing that sometime next month. I'll try to get it on a Friday next month. My ex-wife will not be working on Fridays. Uh, there's been some changes with her employer, and they are going down to 4 days a week. So she will be able to have Joey and take care of him, and I can get him the end of the day or the next day, and everything will be all right. Now, regarding that other method to save the house that I did not want to talk about because I didn't want to jinx it like it seemed I did with the last one. It's not going to work. So this other method was a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Someone before had mentioned trying to do this, and I had looked into it, and I was advised by Rocket Mortgage that it would not be good for me to do because it would just be basically doubling my debt because it would be kind of like a second mortgage. And in my situation, that would not be wise. With a HELOC, you can pay only the interest for a certain amount of time, but then you have to making interest and principal payments. So I was advised not to do it the first time around when I got behind, and so I ended up not doing it because I needed to find a way to pay less money, not more. I was recently advised by another of my long-term subscribers, a wonderful lady that's been here since the beginning, to try it because she and her husband had success with it when she had to quit work due to her health. If my mortgage was current, I might have been able to get one through Rocket Mortgage. But if my mortgage was current and I was able to keep it that way, there wouldn't have been much need for it unless I couldn't get the payments reduced. But the problem is, aside from the fact that it will eventually basically double my mortgage, is my credit score is too low. And they base everything on your credit. So even if you actually got the money in hand, if your credit's not good, they're not going to do it. My credit is not low due to mismanagement of my credit. My credit was actually very good. Very good. My credit was in the high 700s when I bought the house. It's still weird to say that I bought my house because I had been living in this house for almost 8 years, but I had to refinance. Not really refinance, but I had to establish a whole new mortgage in just my name with a different lender, to get my wife off of it. But when I bought my house in 22, my credit was good. I was in the high 700s, getting close to 800, and I didn't have any problems buying the house. My dad co-signed with me to uh, help me get an additional cash amount added to the mortgage so that I could, try to adjust to single life as a single father living on Social Security. There are some days where I kind of wish I hadn't done that, even though it made adjusting into single life, doing everything by myself on so little, it made that adjustment period easier, and I'm not sure I could have done everything that I needed to do without something extra. My mortgage would definitely be less if I hadn't done that, but it was something that at the time that I needed. But my credit score was really good when I bought the house, but buying the house really deflated my credit. Was okay. I didn't care. I did what I needed to do. I bought the house. And I'm paying the mortgage and paying the one credit card that I have, and those things are being reported to the credit bureau, to raise my credit. And it was slowly coming back up, but even though Rocket Mortgage says they're here for you, they're in my corner, they're here to help me succeed, they do anything but. When you miss a payment, or your payment is late, they ding your credit. I get these emails. Your credit has been negatively impacted. Which I understand to a point, but then again, I don't think it's right. Because, you didn't get paid. It doesn't make sense for you to do things to make it harder for me to get you paid. I went to my financial institution here in St. Augustine, a credit union. They don't do HELOCs. They have something similar. But they told me today that my mortgage would have to be current, and I would have to have a minimum credit score of like 620. And Rocket did a soft pull yesterday when I talked to them about it, and it was, they're saying it's 580. Not good. So a HELOC is not an option. I kind of wish it was, because it would have made everything easier until I go back to work, and then when I go back to work, I can, hopefully absorb that additional cost. But because my credit score is too low, it's not an option with Rocket Mortgage, and because it's too low and my mortgage is in default, I don't have it current, they won't do it. So I'm not quite to bankruptcy yet. Rocket Mortgage has got to get their story straight. I talked with one person, and they told me that when I did the loan modification last year, I did a modification and deference. And then I talked to somebody else, and they said we did do the modification, but there's no deference. So right now, I am back and forth with Rocket to see if we can do a deference. A deference will bring the loan current because it will kick these missed payments to the back of the loan. And it should not increase my monthly mortgage payment. God, I hope not. But if I can do the deference, then if that's successful, I get the loan current, and when the loan is current, I refinance, and hopefully get the interest down a couple $100s a month, and I can barely squeeze by. I'll be able to just barely make it by the skin of my broken teeth again. So that's where I'm at. I'm now working on a deference, and we'll see if they're going to let me do it. If not, then bankruptcy. And if bankruptcy doesn't work, then, well, I mean, it should. I should more than qualify, but, you know, how these last two options went, maybe third time's a charm, you know. Knock on wood. Let me take off my lovely Ford hat and knock on the bare wood. Then it's fight a foreclosure. I don't want to do that. I mean, if I fight it and I win, it would be kind of an ideal situation because I would keep the house, and due to my situation, I would be able to get my interest reduced a lot. Like I might be able to get it down to like a $1,300 or $1,400 a month mortgage payment, which would be way more doable than what I'm paying now. Maybe even less than that. But that's a big if. And there's no guarantees. I've got a good chance of winning a foreclosure case because of my health, because of situations that are beyond my control. But there's just as much chance that I lose. And like one of my other longtime followers, who tries to talk some sense into me sometimes, but I'm a hard-headed Polak, has said, you know, yeah, if you sell the house, you may not have a lot, but if you get foreclosed on, you're not going to have nothing. And that is very true. It's just the only thing is if I sell the house, I'm not going to have enough to make a difference. You know? I will be in the position of having to rent a place. I would have to rent a place somewhere very far away from where I live in order to find a place that I could afford. I would still likely end up in the same position of having difficulty keeping up with the rent once the money that I got from the sale ran out. And if I'm renting somewhere, I don't have the protections that I do here, you know. They can't just throw me out of my house. A foreclosure takes a lot of time. They can't just come up here and say, you know, get out. Most rental properties, you know, they can, or they at least have to go through like I think it's a 60-day eviction process. And some places, depending on, you know, paperwork you sign, they can come up and say, you know, get out. And then I'd end up homeless anyway. So I figure the amount that I would get from selling the house after the mortgage was paid would not be really worth the effort. I would still basically end up homeless. So I'm going to exhaust all of my options, because the long and short of it is, for me, is if I can't stay in my son's life, keep him in mind, there is no point for me to keep doing this. You know, I don't want to talk about things that might get my channel dinged, but I won't be around much longer if I can't be with my son. Put it that way. Because he's the only thing that gets me through this really shitty life that I'm forced to put up with. And after everything, you know, everything that I've lost, my wife, my family, if I don't have him, I just don't want to do this shit anymore, you know. And if I have to move away from where I'm living now, my ex-wife will use that to try to claim full custody of my son, because I can't get him to and from school. I can't get him to and from doctor's appointments. Her mother is in some stage of dying. I don't know exactly how bad it is, but it's not good. She wants to move back down to Largo, where she's at now, and live with her mother, and she wants to take my son with her. And I've got a very bad feeling that if I lose this place, my ability to be, you know, in his life where he's at, my ability for the court to say, you know, yeah, he can still do what he's supposed to do as a dad, so, you know, he's going to keep his custody. But if I'm, you know, 40, 50 miles away, I'm not going to be able to do that. The best I would get is weekend visitation. Maybe a weekend over. And if she's living 200 miles away, that wouldn't be possible. And it would be very hard for me to get out there. I damn sure couldn't move out there. The cost of living out there is worse than it is here. So I am going to fight to the last breath. I'm going to try this deferment, see if that works. If not, I'm going to try bankruptcy, see if that works. If not, I'm going to try fighting foreclosure. And if that doesn't work, at that point, I'm just going to say, maybe I just was always meant to fail, you know. We fight and we don't give up, and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do everything I can. But, you know, there is that time where it's just a losing battle, you know. Like a World War I soldier in the trenches, you know. The trenches overrun, the enemy's coming in like ants. Most of your guys are gone. You're out of ammo. All you got is a rifle or a shotgun with a bayonet. And you fight, you know, until you're done. Done. But sometimes you're just done. And that may be where my road is headed. I don't know. I'm not going to give up. It is not in my nature. Sometimes I desperately want to, but it is not in my nature, and it's not something I'm going to do. My son is counting on me. So I'm going to continue to fight the good fight until there's no more fight left in me. gonna go ahead and jump off here and go get ready to fix him his Burger Mac. And talk to y'all later. Like I said, I may not do too much this week because I got him maybe a couple shorties late at night. We'll see. GoFundMe link is in the description if you can and would like to help. I can't say I don't need it. If you can't or don't want to, I understand. It's cool. Thank you all so very much for continuing to follow along with this mess. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.